right, so this is the last of the three for this week, and this is we're going to look at the legislation. We're going to look at some of the laws that are in place to try to save species from going extinct. One of the ones we want to talk about is called CITES. This is the Convention on International Trade in Endangered Species, adopted by 175 countries, and we're trying to ban the taking of endangered species, especially killing them and then selling those products across country lines. And the problem with this is obviously it varies country to country. Some can buy into this, but they'll say certain species are not on the list. And then much of the hunting is done in countries that have not signed on to the treaty. So on the bottom here, on the left is ivory tusks from elephants. And on the right is the horns from rhinos. So this is a big problem, internationally, going from country to country. There's another group, Convention on Biological Diversity, CBD, not the marijuana extract, but this treaty was signed by 193 countries as of 2012. That's the latest I found on this. We had not signed it. I believe we still have not signed it. Trying to fight efforts and trying to help other places hold on to their species. And what we're trying to do here, which is, I think, the right direction, is don't focus necessarily on specific species, but focus on ecosystems. And that way you save the ecosystems, you save the species within it. So it's kind of a very smart way of going after things, but maybe a little more difficult to get the general public to group in on. Okay, so with that in mind, I want to give you another principle. That's principle 98, number 6. Conservation is not a luxury or an optional practice, but one of the essentials for survival. We need it to protect ourselves. Again, when we look at invasive species, when we look at species that are going extinct that we are not protecting, they may have medicinal purposes, they may be having resources that are helping us that we're not aware of. And so it is important that we keep everything together. All right, the next one here slide is the Endangered Species Act of 1973, Richard Nixon. And this is the old method that we use and still kind of using today, save a species versus save an ecosystem. It does seem to work somewhat. You'll know that the big usually most of the endangered species are big flashy organisms. And the idea is we save the species, all the other species that are around it in its area get kind of that side support, which in theory does work. And the one half of the list of species are stable or improving, which is good. 90% listed are recovering. 99% of them have survived. We're actually very good once we label to at least hold on to them. The problem is trying to get them on that list is very difficult because it's political, and it shouldn't be. We went from 92 species in 1973 to 1652 in 2017. Not that things are becoming necessarily more endangered, but although they are, part of that is just trying to get them listed, and that has been a struggle. The Nature Conservancy says 33% of all U.S. species should probably be on the endangered species list, and 15% of those are at very high risk. Since 1995, the political climate has been to weaken the ESA, the Endangered Species Act. They have gone after the budget, so they've given them less and less money. And basically, the biggest argument is it the environment or people. Again, it's an either or situation, and I'm telling you, in that equation, the organisms will always lose. And again, we're connected, and it goes back to the budget, goes back to everything that we have got to change our attitude about what's important. It shouldn't be an either or. Both of them should be in the equation to make life better. There are ways we can do things that don't necessarily have to destroy stuff. And again, we keep the ecosystem and animal services helping us. And so we need to get politicians in there that understand that. During the pandemic, the environment has taken a hit. And I understand why, but we've got to get better at it. It's we were trying to be good on recycling things, and now all of a sudden we've got reusable masks, we've got gloves and all those things. The medical waste that is building up from this pandemic is just talk to hospitals. They just say it's astounding how much PPE is being thrown away, which needs to be thrown away, but we have to find a system that works better. All right, another Vogel principle, page 110, number 23, resource uses, regulations, and management practices that do not consider the future or nothing. So again, if we do not put these into practice and we do not do them, and we don't make sure that it's sustainable, that is the key word, then it's all useless. We're doing it for nothing. And so we've got to, kind of hammer home that sustainability issue. We've got to make sure that we are doing things so there will be something up for future generations. All right, and then the last thing I'd like to talk about, because I worked there, was a zoo. And zoo aquariums, what are their purpose? There are lots of people that don't like zoos, and I have mixed feelings. I like zoos. I understand what they're there for. Problem is, ideally, what I would love people to go see organisms in their natural habitat, but unfortunately, that is not the possibility for everybody to do. And so, zoos are good in education. That's one of their big purposes. They are actually also there for genetic warehouses, holding on to and helping endangered species. So here I've got 3 species that zoos have helped. The one on top is the peregrine falcon. That is the fastest moving organism on the planet. They've been clocked at speeds at over 200 miles per hour in stupor dive, 220. I've heard a number of 270, although I don't know if that was verified. Those birds eat other birds, and they're local here. I've seen them down at Newport Back Bay. I've seen them up at Morro Bay, and cool bird. On the bottom is the California condor. They're in breeding facilities. They got down to just 27 birds remaining. There are now over 400 and something released. Unfortunately, the fires have gotten close to a couple of their nesting sites, and we might have lost a couple of birds on this last go around for fires. The one on the top right I want to mention, this is the yellow-legged frog. There was, and I'm going to see if I can find the article to give you this week. They were being caught up. The fires that occurred just recently did not affect the frogs directly. But the rains that are happening are going to cause mudslides, and they could kill these things. And so they're going to capture many of them and take them to the LA Zoo, is what I heard, and have a genetic storehouse of these, try to breed them in captivity so we can release them back when things are better. So the energy in must equal the energy out. The problem with saving these species is ridiculously high. You only need to know the bolded, the part on the bottom I put there, just the energy expended obtaining a recourse and making it useful must not exceed the amount of energy derived from the resource. So here is our problem. We let it get to very low numbers, and then we spend millions upon millions of dollars trying to save them from extinction. To me, it just makes more sense is why don't we stop early put in a little bit of money to save habitats, help these things out, so we don't get to this predicament. And I want you to know, unfortunately, it is not enough. Zoos will never be enough. The frozen zoo that is taken from San Diego Wild Animal Park, they are freezing embryos and eggs and sperm, and we're trying to hold on to these species so that we could breed them in the future and put them back out if we ever figure out how to do that. I will tell you, though, the money involved is just ridiculous. And this is not going to be possible. And it's even worse for aquariums, especially the larger species. Trying to have a facility that can support these animals long enough to get them back in the wild, it's just not going to happen. This is a giant sea bass on the bottom picture here at the Pacific, the Aquarium of the Pacific, or Long Beach Aquarium, whatever you want to call this place. And they're doing a good job trying to bring these guys back. These big fish were overfished. But again, we can't do this to every species. We don't have the money or the technology or the effort to be able to do this. We have got to rethink how we maintain wild species before there aren't any left. And with that, you're all going to die. With that, I will stop the share and stop the recording.